Welcome to Screen Talk, the podcast about anything on your screen from TV, movies, or anything else we can think of. I'm your host, Sam, joined as always by your co-host, Blue. Blue, how are you doing today?
Lying a little bit like Justine, but in a fun way.
There we go. Oh, okay. We're having a little bit of flashbacks here. That's not a good thing, listeners. If you're not sure of what the topic is yet, Justine not doing means Blue's in some trouble right now, and maybe we need to.
Or does it?
I would say yes.
Okay, we'll get into that later.
That's a massive red flag.
It's fine.
Flag?
It's fine. We'll get into it later.
Normally we chit chat a little at the top, but we're kind of doing two movies today with a little extra helping at the end. So I kind of feel like we need to jump into this sooner rather than later. Would you agree with that, Blue?
Mm-hmm.
What is our topic of discussion today? You came up with this idea of a little phenomenon in film. What are we doing?
I thought it'd be fun to do twin films, which is somehow not movies about twins. It's all about...
We're not doing Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Why not? I mean, we could. Twin Films Part 2. And,
when the sequel comes out with Eddie Murphy, that's going to be fun.
Incredible. But this one, at least, is about more of the phenomenon where films with the similar or pretty much the same plot are produced and they are released within a really close proximity of each other by two different film studios. So basically going into like that phenomenon, and we had an idea if we could take some from, there's been so many of these through the decades, and I'm sure a lot of it's that people are shopping around scripts or people are picking up on the general tone of society at the time and whatnot. But I thought it'd be really fun to dive into some of these and not quite like make them like pit them against each other, but a little bit, since they are so similar, same time frames. What do we feel like encapsulated what they were trying to say better? I thought it'd be fun to kind of explore because they are so similar in time frame.
Yeah, there's a ton of movies like this. I feel like the one that, for not saying it's the best movies out there, but I feel like one, if you're not really understanding what we're saying, is remember in like within a 6-month period when a movie with, and I'm not going to remember which was which, but one had Justin Timberlake and Natalie Portman, and one had Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis.
Yeah, and one of them was like Friends with Benefits, and I forget what the other one was called.
And one was like Banging Your Friend. I don't know what it's called.
No Strings Attached.
Yes, I was close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That's it.
But yeah, that exact concept of like how did these movies come out so similarly in time frame and in you know, and again, not pitting them against one another, because oftentimes they're telling you the same story but in a different tone or manner. You found one one of these is a rewatch for you, yes, and one of these is a first time. And for me, they're both time. I'm a first time here.
First time. Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wanted to do this concept, and one that I thought that you would really enjoy. So it is partially why I picked it. I did love Seeking a Friend for the End of the World when I watched it originally, and I still do. It still holds up for me. I'm sure we'll go into that later. There's actually a lot of movies, though, at this time period that are all the same apocalyptic science fiction, a little bit of love story in there. So it was Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, which came out in 2012. There was also Extraterrestrial, which came out in 2011. And then 444 Last Days on Earth, which was 2011 as well. And that has William Dafoe, so we might have to go back and and see what that one's about. And also Melancholia. So I picked Melancholia. Has been on my watch list for a really long time. I'm a really big Lars von Trier fan, so I figured this is one I've never seen, paired with a movie that I thought that you would love. So I figured it was a good one for this kind of concept.
I think they were great choices, just because they're so, I mean, almost identical stories, like truthfully, like almost identical. Just you can see the way one mind approaches the subject versus another, and how we really truthfully are all little individual, I don't want to use snowflakes because that's a bad term, but we're all,
okay.
You know what I mean? Like truthfully.
He's like, you're all about to melt. Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're all about to melt. women shouldn't vote. And
oh,
wait, I'm sorry.
no, we both have blue hair now. We can't do this.
Oh no, we got blue hair and nose rings. Oh no.
Oh my god, we can't talk bad about snowflakes. We're literally them.
I guess so. I'm not going to explain myself. You'll figure out if I truly believe what I said or not, listeners. Most of you can figure it out.
Use context clues, please.
Yeah. You can just maybe pick up on those. Yeah, so I was happy that you picked these. And we're going to start off with a breakdown. Oh, actually, I should notes here. We're going to start off with the movie that you kind of thought that I would enjoy, and it really helped jump me into this idea, Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, which was 2012, I believe.
Yes.
I gotta say, just straight off the bat, like I mean, I think listeners will pick up on how much I enjoyed this movie. I am fucking shocked that I have never seen this movie.
Good.
I am. The Office is my all-time favorite TV show. This era of Steve Carell is like peak Steve Carell. It's written by the writer, or directed by the writer of Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. And if you've never seen that, you can feel that vibe in this movie where it's cheesy, romantic, but also like dramatic, overly dramatic, I would say in Nick and Nora's instance. Kind of a good reason to be dramatic here.
Sure.
And then, I mean, just the cast off the bat, I was like, how did I miss this?
Yeah, it's really got an incredible cast. And I'm still surprised that when I went back to look at this movie and see what other people were saying about it, because I already had my own mindset like made up. I love this movie. And it's like, it's just not reviewed as high as it should.
I didn't look at the reviews for it. I looked at the box office for both to try and compare them. And this didn't do well. It was made on a budget of 10 and it made like a little under 10. So if you do basic studio math, usually you take half the budget. So it probably lost about $7 million for advertising and everything altogether. So this was not a hit. And then like, it also isn't in production for DVD or Blu-ray anymore. I know somebody who owns one.
Hey, it's me.
Also, I don't think it's streaming on Amazon, but only for rental. So steal away, kids. I don't know.
And it's not reviewed very high. If you looked into that, like I would think like sometimes there are movies that don't make their budget, but they are a cult classic or like, whatever. And this is like a 55% on Rotten Tomatoes, and like Letterboxd I think is more accurate. It gives it a 3.3, though I'm going to reveal my rating a little bit later, but that's still a little bit low. But
I think that's low as well.
But I was very surprised. I was like, this is way too good of a movie for what people still have in their mind about it.
The only thing I could think about that maybe why this movie is rated as low as it is by viewers, I don't know about critics, but the average viewer,
the same 55. It was actually higher on critics than audience. Isn't that crazy?
I kind of see that because, I mean, spoilers for when we get to the end here. I could see this being a movie, people being like, well, what the fuck at the end, which I was, on the other hand, clapping. Okay.
Oh, you think like people thought like everything was going to be okay?
Yes, I think that's truthfully what they thought. I think they're like, how could you give me this sweet movie? And then, okay.
Listeners, for both the movies. The apocalypse happens.
Yes, this is the premise of the movie. Both movies, essentially. The apocalypse is happening. The people know that it's happening of the planet, and it's about how they're reacting to it. They have X amount of time basically to live with the fact that they know that the planet is about to be destroyed by one thing or another. Basically the same fucking thing in these movies. One's a planet and one's an asteroid. Yeah. And sorry to say, spoiler alert for what we're saying here. Boom.
R.I.P. literally everybody.
Yes.
The good news is no one dies alone.
But that's why I think that for this type of movie in this era, people went and saw a Steve Carell movie and they're like, oh, look at them. They're sweet and falling in love. And it's kind of quirky and fun at times, even though like also super depressing because they all know what's going to happen. But I guarantee, because I thought this when I was watching this movie. I know Lars. I knew what was coming at the end of that movie.
Sure.
This, though, I was like, maybe, I'm like, I could have saw it potentially ending with like, and the asteroid mysteriously burned up upon entry. And I could have saw that happening, and it didn't. And when it didn't happen, I literally, I was like, thank you for having a set of nards. Like,
yeah, that movie needed to end in that way. 100%. I think both of them did.
Yeah.
I mean, they're apocalypse movies, but there's no savior for humanity. And I think that's okay for these two.
I agree. I mean, what made you originally, this is the one you've seen before, and you obviously, it resonated with you. What resonated with you about this movie before we kind of break it down on a chronological level?
For Seeking a Friend?
Yeah.
Definitely. I felt the same with how great the cast was. I mean, incredible. I'm not actually sure what got me into it in the first place. I want to say it was recommended to me actually by my old boss. And because I also went to their letterbox after that and they rated this and I was like, I think I know where I got this from in the first place. Because I do love Steve Carell and everything like that. And Keira Knightley is chef's kiss. So both of them I absolutely love and adore. Just going into it. So I was glad that it lived up to that. I was like, hopefully no one's performance is cringy. Like, why are people reviewing this bad? I remember having a good time. And everything about that was great. This second watch, I really appreciated. I think the first time I watched it, I felt more like Steve Carell's character. And now I'm like, oh my God, I'm Keira Knightley. Oh my God, she's literally me. And so it's a very different experience to enjoy it on two levels of their two narratives that normally wouldn't align together. And how they're this two ships passing in the night, going the same way for a while.
And then at the very right time when they need to meet, they meet. Just to speak to can you hear my dog playing DJ Scratch and Sniff right now? Ripley, sit down. Okay, thank you. Sorry, every time. I just want to go over the cast real quick because I wrote down, it's unbelievable. The list, just for listeners, if you are into this era of film and especially this kind of comedy group, Steve Carell, Keira Knightley are our lead. Steve Carell plays Dodge, Keira plays Penny. Nobody has first or has last names in this movie, which I enjoy. I think that's smart, and it's less information that I don't need. Do I care if it's Dodge, Baxter? I don't give a shit. Connie Britton is in this movie, who is fucking gorgeous. We'll get to her and how I would have not said no. Adam Brody, Rob Corddry, Melanie Linsky, William Peterson, old CSI himself, Jillian Jacobs. I wrote TJ Miller, but then I crossed him out because he's kind of been canceled. So if you like him still, he's in there. Patton Oswalt, who I kind of realized later on today, thinking about it, might have actually set up the entire premise of the movie. Martin Sheen, and that's just to name the ones that I saw on the very first page of IMDb.
Yes, all crazy performances, and they all are, even though they aren't all our main characters, we obviously do have a duo here. They add so much.
A lot, yes. Also, I want to say that I found in my research that supposedly the director of this based the movie on a Chris Cornell song called Preaching the End of the World, which I found interesting because I'm like, I wonder if Lars von Trier also listened to that song. He seems to like sad, depressing bullshit like Chris Cornell. So, like, you
don't get him like I get him, but that's fine.
You don't picture him listening to Chris Cornell. I'm sure he has it on a he seems like the guy who'd be like, I like to play it at the same time as Beethoven's Fifth Symphony.
Okay, yeah. So he's a little different, okay? So he really liked the movie Solaris, okay? That's okay that he likes that, and he likes all the things that the Solaris did with their music, and he copied it verbatim. I don't care. It's good.
We're jumping ahead. We might be right. We might have a little more to discuss on the other one just because of who we are.
I mean, this one is just a good movie. I don't think there's any contention about Seeking a Friend for the End of the World.
Do we have to have contention to be good?
Yes. No,
our entire friendship is built upon content.
I think you don't get melancholy. Okay, we're gonna get to there later. Right. But Seeking a Friend for the End of the World it's a good movie on all intents. It's the story is good. The backstories feel believable. Even the change in your main character and lead make sense to me, at least, because it was like, oh, he finally can't outrun not making decisions or not doing something with his life or taking it, like in listening to his impulses. Like everything in this movie makes sense. There's a reason for things to happen. There is like a whimsy to it at the end of the world. It doesn't shy away necessarily of showing like how other people are reacting to the end of the world. Some people with like sexed up orgies, some people hiring hitmen to kill them because they think they'll go to hell if they kill themselves.
Let's go through this. Wait. Let's go through this a little bit here. Okay, so the movie pretty much starts with him and his wife, played by Steve Carell's actual wife, who you may recognize from The Office, playing Carol, the realtor. That's Steve's real wife. They're sitting in their car. They hear the announcement over the radio that the world is going to end in 3 weeks due to an asteroid. At which point she looks at Steve. He basically says something innocuous like, "Oh, I guess we're going to need to go get groceries or something." And then
he missed his turn.
That's what it was. And she jumps out of the car and literally runs the fuck away. Movie begins. Interesting, you know. Over that, we get to see that people are still basically just stop going to work very quickly. We see, because obviously, what's your drive to go to work anymore? Like nobody's going to have any reason to. Well, let me rephrase that. Most people stop going to work. They start promoting. They promote like someone at his company to CEO, like who was like a mailroom person. Because I guess they're just trying. Some people are just trying to hold on to that sense of reality. But I think where the movie really started, you get to understand what this is he goes to a quote unquote end of the world party with people you presume are married family friends of his, played by Connie Britton and Rob Corddry. And they're sort of having what at the very beginning, what I would call a normal dinner party. They're trying to set him up with Melanie Linsky in the movie, which does seem a little soon because he just got, I'm going to say ostensibly divorced, but if you only got 3 weeks to go, you got time.
I don't know if you got time.
Let me rephrase. You don't have time to, yeah. But then it very quickly divulges into all these people like in their like late 40s going fucking bananas, and it kicks off at my favorite part. Maybe my favorite line in the movie is all of a sudden you just hear someone go, "Hey, Steve's here. And he brought heroin," and all these people in their 40s start running over to go do heroin.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's what I would say I find interesting. I didn't catch it when I first saw the movie. This is where Patton Oswalt shows up. And for those who don't know who Patton Oswalt is, he's not a conventionally attractive man. He's a very short, slight, pudgy man. He's very funny, but he is telling Steve Carell about how that the apocalypse has leveled the playing field, that for the first time ever, everybody's equal. All women are open to all men are, basically he, as a small pudgy guy who never had an opportunity with women before, he's like, I'm doing fucking great. Now, granted, he says it in a lot crasser way. He says a little bit more that he's slamming a lot of puss, but and I didn't really think about it, but I have to imagine that does have a pretty large effect on what happens later in the movie.
You think like it's for the audience? Or you think it's for Steve Carell's character?
Well, I personally think that given these circumstances, I mean, so Keira Knightley is going to show up here soon. And we kind of hinted it's sort of a romance movie, except they're fighting that it's a romance movie for the first half. The second half, they accept that Keira Knightley and Steve Carell have fallen in love with one another. I think in at least what I thought of today when I was rethinking on the movie is that I think Patton Oswalt places a huge pin into what happens in this movie, because Keira Knightley would not have met Steve Carell had it not been the apocalypse. And at the end of the movie, spoilers, she's crying saying, I wish I had more time with you. And he says, no, you don't. We met at the exact right, perfect time when we were supposed to. And I'm kind of thinking what he's saying by that is we would have never we would not be together. We would not have met. And under the circumstances that were, where the playing fields are different now, where certain people are willing to give other people a chance, you know what I mean? I sort of feel like Patton teed that up. I don't know if I'm crazy, but I feel like he did. Because in what other world is she fucking Steve Carell?
In the world where neither of them are held back by societal implications, like, I think the part of that scene, well, hear me out though. Like, Dodge was always someone that was weak. Like, he lost like the girl of his dreams because he couldn't make a decision. He couldn't do anything. He's not the type of person to interact, to put himself into her life in any regard. Like, I took that ending scene very different. Because he says to her that it would never have been enough time. I'm taking that in like a romantic way. Like, it would have never been enough time. Like, she wants more time. He says it never would have been enough time. So in my head, I'm thinking he's accepting it, but also in the way relating it to, like, I mean, it's a romanticism that I think is there. That, like, there's never enough time. So let's start with forever type of like romantic, sorry for the Twilight reference, but that's just like a very old cliche line, right? About love and time and these things. So I didn't take it as this, we would have never been together thing. I think their personal growth was expedited by the apocalypse, him being able to not be so fucking safe all the time, and for her to actually find someone that she fucking likes and that respects her, and like and all these things despite the age differences between them. So I have a little bit more optimistic view. I think in a different world where those two issues were solved independently of an apocalypse, I do think there's a chance these people could be together. I don't think the characters don't think that either, personally.
Okay, so I want to be clear here. I also took it as a romantic angle and whatnot, and that's him saying that, time is there's never enough time, all that. But I am saying that, and I'm agreeing with you that yes, there is a world where potentially they could have been together. However, because of what society does to people, and it sort of makes us these absolutely truthfully just the people we aren't truly are in our hearts a lot of the time. She probably would have stayed in that shitty relationship that she didn't want to be in with Adam Brody, and or kept jumping from guy to guy that she thought checked all the boxes. What now, dog? God
your dog hates serial monogamy.
Like, jumping from like all okay, like, she would have probably continued to be in this and jumping from guy to guy that she thought she should be with, and forever. She maybe never would have actually gotten to be with a guy like Dodge or Dodge himself. And on the flip side, I also think Dodge would have stayed in that marriage until he died, like, for sure, or until it was way too fucking late. Like, I think that, like, I am with you in that it is a romantic thing he's saying, and that is romanticism. But the reality of it is that this is facilitated by the apocalypse. Like, her looking at a guy like Dodge and giving Dodge a chance, a guy who's older and sad, I don't know, and meeker than her, and him, looking for anybody besides his wife or this one girl he's been pining for his whole life. And then on the flip side, like, to finally have the courage to be like, you know what, I want this with this person, even if, society tells me they're 25 years younger than me. Like, I don't know. I'm agreeing with you, but I'm also saying that I think that, I mean, it isn't ultimately, I think it's the apocalypse that levels the playing field, and not that Patton says it in a like romantic way. I think it does sort of tee up what's about to happen.
I'll give you that. I think the leveling the playing field thing, I think he takes it in. I mean, he's kind of being a male chauvinist pig at the moment, but
he's not a nice.
So what are you going to do?
He's not a nice person in this scene.
It did level the field in the sense, though, that like it brought out the most humanity, like, between them. I would say
between these two, not everybody else.
Yes, these two are able to connect on that level and experience that together, and that's really what makes the movie beautiful and great.
It is, and I will agree. I think this movie is extremely beautiful. But truthfully, there's only 3 characters in this movie, 4 actually, because I'll include Sorry, that have any sort of meaningful growth. I feel in the movie, everyone else is just going fucking bananas.
Yeah.
Like for instance, I mean, here's the part I'm going to say. I will give it to Dodge. Connie Britton walks in there, who is his best friend's presumably wife, and she's trying to like comfort him because he's sad, like sitting in the bathtub, and she tries to fuck him, and he's like, "I'm not going to fuck my best friend's wife," and she's like. And I believe she says the line, she goes, "Oh, Dodge, nobody's anybody's anymore. You know, marriage means nothing." And I was like, I don't know if Connie Britton said that to me. I think
wouldn't even have to get that far.
I would.
Wouldn't have to get how to get there.
To live, and you're a beautiful older lady. Sign me up.
No. Okay, I get it. Okay, very funny. But at the same time, like that's
joking.
The interesting part about Dodge. He doesn't like disagree. He doesn't change any of his principles. He doesn't go and try hard drugs. He doesn't sleep with his best friend's wife. He doesn't do any of those things. If anything, the only thing that he does that's like out of character is when he's presented with the right choice that he should make, that he should go with the girl that he was in love with for all this time. They were together, blah, blah, this. And like, he doesn't do that. He chooses what he really wants in the moment instead of doing like what he should have, what he set out on the journey to do. And that's one of the best parts about Dodge is that he doesn't change his morality. Nothing about him changes in that way. Even him being like, "Oh my God, you're 28," and I'm like basically 50. Like he's disgusted. He's like, "You try to be a good person." Like he has always, and he wants to be a good person through and through, and now is just not doing it at his own.
I got
his own laws.
I just realized how old these people are. Did you watch this and think of you and Pedro Pascal? Because it's the exact same age range.
Listen, if we're in the apocalypse.
Okay.
If we're in the apocalypse and I sign an NDA, just in case, I would shoot my shot.
Okay.
I mean, you can't not try. It's the apocalypse, dude.
Yeah, I'm sure you just need the apocalypse for that.
We just talked about this, dude. Come on. Take Patton Oswalt's advice.
Okay. I'm going to move on from that one. All right. But I mean, we'll say that he does change him a little bit, but like for the negative, he goes more towards his sad side because he does try to kill himself. When he drinks the bottle of codeine and then downs the bottle of window cleaner. At which point he wakes up and I believe he's peed his pants, and he has a little note that says, "I'm sorry," and there's a dog that's been on a leash tied to his wrist. Mm-hmm. And we meet Sorry the dog, which is just a little adorable pup. I love a doggy in a movie. In my mind he lived.
He did. He survived. He was the only one. He actually became the ruler of Earth at that point.
Sorry is probably the most indie part of this movie because he truthfully doesn't serve much of a purpose other than being cute. Like, I guess it gives Dodge a reason and something to live for before he gets feelings for Penny. But so Dodge takes in this dog. While he's taking in this dog, he's taking care of it at his house. He just goes back to living his life. At one point, he looks out on his fire escape. There's Penny. Penny's crying. He inquires, and Penny says that basically because her boyfriend's a piece of shit, she's never going to get to see her family again because she missed her flight to England, and all flights have stopped. Pretty good reason to hate your boyfriend.
Yeah.
There's a riot. People go fucking bananas. We know that would happen in real life. They for some reason Dodge decides that he needs to save Penny. So he takes Sorry and Penny and Adam Brody, who is the boyfriend. He saves them and they escape the city, although he ends up leaving Adam Brody behind, which I thought was great, especially when Adam Brody tries to use Penny as a human shield when he hears gunshots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had to go.
At that point, they run into just a couple of it's at this point a road trip movie. They run into a bunch of wacky characters. There's William Peterson, who's this very nice truck driver who apparently thinks that Dodge is somebody that he hired to kill him because he's too afraid to kill himself. They run into a restaurant that is served exclusively by people on ecstasy who are about to have an orgy. At which point, Dodge and Penny decide, no, we can't get involved with this. Yeah, they go outside and then they fuck.
Yeah, private.
Well, yeah, but
please have some decorum.
Now, here's where I have a question for you, because afterwards, Penny plays it off very, very like nonchalantly. Penny's like, listen, chill out, bro. Like, because he's being like apologetic, like, oh, I'm so much older.
I don't want to take advantage.
Yeah, I'm so much older. And she plays it off like, listen, it didn't mean anything. It just, you're the person I'm with, and that's the last time I'm ever gonna have sex. So like that's all it means. It was just sex. Do you think she meant that, or did she like him at that point?
It depends on if you view them as in love or not. I think it mostly is her reaction to him, realistically, like him being very like apologetic and very I want to take advantage and blah 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 this, and like eventually I think they get to an understanding of it. But I think she means it when she says, I want you to be my last. I don't know if that necessarily means at that point that she's in love with him. I think that comes maybe a little bit later. But I think that she was genuine about that. I think she did want him to be her last, and I do think they had a lot of feelings at that point. But I think the dismissiveness is more so just about how he was acting. Like it's a big deal. I think if he just would have been cool, then like it would have been a much better scene.
I don't think this guy would have ever been cool though.
No, but like also like relax. Bro's like freaking out about an age gap. This is not a child. This is a fully adult woman. Like this is not like she just turned 18.
And we're all dying
28.
2.5 weeks.
Yeah, like you're fine. Like you don't have to clarify and like seem like you were this like guy, like, oh, the end of the world, I want to take advantage, blah blah. She came on to you. Like, and she even says that. She's like, I was the one that did anything. So she almost tries to like take blame for his uncomfortability. I would have probably been more conversations around sex and intimacy if those couples had lived for very long. But I do think there's a reason they don't have sex again in the movie that we know of.
Yeah, that we know of. Yeah, probably. I think the one sex scene does make the most sense. Yeah. Another wacky character they run into at this point. She's smoking a joint, and a cop pulls them over, and they're like, "What the fuck? Like what? Like what? A cop's pulling us over?" And they get put in jail for a night, so they lose a whole night in jail of their last 3 weeks, which I thought is good. And then like another cop just happens to walk by, and he's like, "Oh god damn it, Barney!" Like he's like, "This guy's an idiot." Like, sorry.
Quotas.
They meet. This is probably the scene that I enjoyed the least in the film, and maybe it just went over my head. I didn't really see that it offered much meat on the bone. Is they go to Penny's. They're like, we need a car, so they go to Penny's ex-boyfriend's house, who's like this militant guy who like has like he has like a regular house with like a basement, but like a billion guns and like a fleet of like 25 cars. And like somehow this dude is like acquired like a bunch of shit, and he thinks he's going to be like the ruler after the apocalypse. Like he's going to be the road warrior after this, I think. I just didn't really understand this scene. I mean, I guess because he is so resourceful, it lets her have her goodbye with her family because she is able to get a phone call through to her family. But other than that, I mean, I guess maybe to show, because it doesn't the dude say, like, he's like, you should leave Dodge because she should be with someone like me or something like that. I just didn't, this scene overall, I was like, I probably could have cut the whole thing.
Well, I think it's because Dodge gives up Olivia. He gives up what the socially acceptable thing would have been. And even like that ex-boyfriend character is saying like, she might even be with you now, but she'll pick survival. Like she knows her best shot is with me. She knows, like, that's literally the whole point. She knows her best shots with me. Dodge's best shot is with his ex, but they don't pick their best shots. They pick each other.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think it's just like to not make his sacrifice, like, I don't know, maybe just a little less one-sided perhaps, or to show them actually, I think it's to almost at the beginning of the movie where they find each other, right? But they don't pick each other. And they equally pick each other in my mind because of that scene and because of him not even opening the door or knocking on the door when they go find Olivia.
Yeah, no, I
think it's to do that.
I think that makes sense. I do think that makes sense. Okay, so it shows that she had an alternate choice too that would have been safer, especially considering that she had a previous relationship and potentially if the end of the world is going to happen, you know, he might be if the world survives in some way afterwards, he may have been the better choice.
Yes.
Survival instincts wise.
Yes.
So at this point, like I said, Dodge leaves a letter for his ex-girlfriend, but he doesn't go in. He doesn't have any interest in talking to her because he just wants that closure. But he's decided at that point, he has now decided who he wants to be with. And it is Penny. Mm-hmm. Then we meet the only other character that I feel actually grows in the film. We meet Dodge's dad. So Dodge has been playing with this little harmonica the whole movie. And we meet his dad, played by Martin Sheen. They have a very bad relationship. It's very clear to see, but they make amends. And at this point, it's revealed that Martin is a pilot and has a working plane. And so he basically, after she falls asleep, and she's a heavy fucking sleeper, might I add, he convinces his dad, he puts her in the back of the plane, convinces his dad to fly her to England so that she could be with her family, which he picks her up, puts her in there. So she's just like a little baby. She don't wake up for nothing. But it is at this point, he does say, while he's crying, he says, "You were the love of my life." So he openly admits it. The audience is now aware of how he feels about her, and away she goes, which I also thought was kind of a fucking pretty big ask, because that's also asking his dad to be like, "You cool with dying in England, bro?" Like,
yeah. I think his dad didn't have anything else, though, right? Like the mom had been gone so long, and this was like his way of atoning in a way.
Yeah.
Like he was just going to go alone regardless, so he might as well do a task for his son.
He was just there by himself, and he got to make amends with his son, so I guess that makes sense.
Big ask, but still.
He's at his house. He goes back to his home. She shows up, and she's like, "What the hell, bro? Like, that was fucked up." She's very mad. And she says, "I woke up and I told him to turn the plane around." And he's like, "Well, what about your parents?" And I thought this line was kind of cute. She goes, "They're romantics. They'll understand." And and at that point, it cuts to them just laying in bed, and she is distraught. She is bawling, crying, having a panic attack. The asteroid's impact is mere moments away. He is calm as can be, just stroking her hair and telling her, like we said, how, you know, that they met at the right time, and that, you know, just how much that he loves her. She, in just a brief instance, calms down, smiles at him, big bright white light, credits. And then Sam applauded and jumped for joy.
Jump for joy is a little much.
I was truly worried that they were going to like puss out on the ending. I was very truly worried they were going to. And by having the guts to go through with it, I mean, it's a full letter grade. Like if we're doing our traditional 5-star system, it's a full star higher for having the guts to go through with it. Because otherwise the rest of the movie is irrelevant. And I loved this movie.
I love it too. I thought it was great. Everything about it, like the plot's fantastic. The relationship that builds between these two, no matter how you interpret it, if you interpret it as these two are really, truly, madly, deeply in love, or if you interpret it as like a relationship of convenience, then it's still great. Like that doesn't even change how good the movie is, regardless. It's just a fun way to differentiate. Like to me, the movie would still be just as good if there wasn't, if I thought they were madly in love and soulmates and that was just like whatever, and if I thought they were just there because they're clinging on to something at the end.
So, all right, to be clear, because I didn't even think about thinking it in an alternate way. I know how I thought about it. How did you think about it? Did you think that they were like, these are like, they are truly in love? I don't, soulmates, if you want to use that word, but like just were they truly in love, or was this a relationship of convenience in your mind?
I don't think it was a relationship of convenience.
Me neither.
I think if it was, they would have parted at various different times in the story. Like in the sense of
I think I wouldn't have cried when he put her in the fucking plane had I thought that, and I for sure cried.
Yeah, I think he's the best boyfriend she ever had or would had, because would have.
You were about to say will ever have. Well,
yeah, she kind of died. So, but you know, they have both had this like really wholesome, cutesy relationship. It's good, dude. It's really good. It's I think she is the love of his life, and I think that he is the love of her life as well.
Okay, I agree, and I think that whether they only had 3 weeks together or 30 years together, I agree. And again, I love this movie. I'm a sucker for, this is like, okay, no, I don't want to, I was about to say, like, this is my kind of romance movie where everybody dies and it's super depressing because you know it's happening. No, but I mean, like, I love the tone of this where it's fun, it's playful, it is dark and emo in spots because it has to be. It'd be crazy if if there wasn't any like sort of like depression in this movie, you'd be like, okay. Like,
yeah, it's not realistic.
But I really, really enjoyed this. It's sweet. It's saccharine. I truly loved it. Like, I thought it was great from beginning to end. I will watch this again. I will buy this, actually. I will own this physically on my shelf.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed this. And
you're welcome.
When it comes to apocalypse movies, I mean, I'd have to think about them. Like, it's got to be up there on my list of like top 5 apocalypse movies. Like, I mean, you know, Terminator 2's probably going to be number 1, but
okay, that's a great one. So fair enough. Yeah, this is something I was really glad to own too. I don't remember if I already own it. For context, y'all, all of my movies are in a storage unit, so I don't actually know. I don't remember some of the things I have bought. Because I haven't seen some of those boxes and boxes of movies in about a year. So I didn't know if I actually own this or not, so I bought a copy. So if I already own a copy, you can have this one, but I honestly don't know.
Well, okay, I'll wait a few months and grab it.
It's definitely something for the shelf, though. This is a movie that you're proud to own, you're proud to talk about. It's just fantastic. People should review it much higher than they do. 55% is crazy. I'll kill you. Like, it's nowhere near that. Like, that's insane.
No, and I can't even understand where you're coming from in a 55. I mean, because that's an F. That's an F.
Literally.
A 55% is an F. This is not an F movie. I will go as far to say I think this movie is beautiful. It's beautiful while being easily accessible, because you can just watch it on a surface level and be like, haha, that's funny. Like, there's goofy things happening, and you know, there's a lot of romance in this movie, but it is truthfully a beautiful movie, and it is capped off by a cherry of a beautifully perfect ending. And I adored this movie. It was wonderful.
What do you give it out of 5? 4, don't you?
It's definitely a 4.
I knew it.
I almost want to go.
Oh, are you debating a 4.5?
I was about to say, do we do quarters? Can I do a 4 1/4?
Yeah, of course.
All right, I'm gonna go 4 1/4. It could honestly, it could be a 4.5, but there is something that just holds me back from putting it there. But I fucking love this. I want to give it just that little extra. You know what? The Boom gives it a 1/4. All right, 4 1/4 stars.
That's beautiful.
And for sorry.
I give it a pretty similar score. I give it so I do rate a lot of movies on Letterboxd, as we do. And on Letterboxd, I give it a 4 because you can do halves, but you can't do anything else. I think realistically, this one for me is closer to a 3.75, but I do think it's worthy. Like, if someone's like, this is a 4, I'm like, yeah, for sure. Like, I get it. But I do think there's some of it that can be, or that could have been a little bit more fleshed out or more fun to play with. I think there were moments of like that they could have added to this film that would have been really great. So for me, it's like a strong 3.75, but on a regular grading system, I'm giving it a 4 and just calling it a day and saying I liked it. Like, it's worthy of it. Everyone who got together and made this, fantastic. And this is actually the guy who made the Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. This is his directorial debut.
Yeah, I think it's a lady too.
Oh, is it?
I think it's a lady.
I've never seen Nick and Nora.
Or they have a lady's name.
Let's find out.
It's also
I
know
Lorraine?
Yeah.
Who is this? I'm gonna find you.
They also directed that movie Hustlers that came out that made like $100 million a couple years ago. So I think they're doing okay right now.
Oh wow. Yeah, this was their Lorraine. We're gonna pretend that's pronounced that way. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. This is their directorial debut. So that's very good movie to have as your debut.
I would agree. Yes.
That's incredible first.
Now, just unfortunately, nobody went and saw it, but
Yeah, probably wasn't great for your career, but I love it.
But
Go off, Queen.
13 years later, two blue-haired weirdos with nose rings are loving it.
We think it's really good.
Big fans, as the world is truly burning around us.
And that's who they make movies for,
yeah.
if you really think about it.
Also, for the listeners, if you haven't guessed, I have now donned a little bit of blue hair, so I'm posing off of blue, and I'm not going to explain it. Just fuck it. I'm a poser.
We both have half and half hair right now, basically.
I don't feel like explaining my. You know what?
We're both blue-haired libs talking about
Yes.
movies. That's
Yes,
it.
except we're about to fight about a movie. I think.
Yes, we are. Oh my fucking god! All right, just go. Tell me whatever bullshit you think about Melancholia.
Okay. That's
tell me whatever bullshit, so I can send a drone strike to your house.
All right, so we're talking about Melancholia right now, and I'm going to say this as directly
I can't believe you.
and as clearly as I can say this into the camera. Fuck you, Lars von Trier.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
Fucking up your own ass piece of shit.
You're dead. You're fucking dead. How dare you? How dare you? You don't even understand the movie. And you'd bring Lars von Trier into this?
I would bring Lars von Trier into a lot of things. Why do all of his movies have to have weird things about his stars needing to have sex scenes that have no fucking reason to be in the movie?
First of all, yes, they do.
Seeing
yes, they do have a reason to be in the movie.
Didn't need to see Willem Dafoe's dick in the other movie. Glad I did.
Glad I did is crazy. But sure. Listen, you just didn't get it. So let's walk through the plot of this, and I can tell you how many times you're wrong. I'll just keep like a little counter on the side.
All right.
I'm already giving you 10 to start, like just 10 little tallies, just to.
I'm going to give it -8 to start by the fact that there is an 8-minute long audience. If you've not seen Melancholia, 8-minute long, super slow motion, not slow motion. Super slow motion.
It's a metaphor, Sam.
It's 8 fucking minutes long.
It's a metaphor.
It's so goddamn long. I was like, oh my God. It's super slow motion of things that are about to come in the movie. Some you see, some you don't see later on in the movie. There's a horse that's like falling down. There's a lady running through the woods.
It's a metaphor.
Everything's a metaphor for something in Lars movies. I just don't think he knows what they're metaphors for. I think he just is like, I don't even know I don't know what his accent is. I know he's foreign, so I'm just going to give him generic fucking accents for the rest of the movie. Let's start off with Italian. It's a metaphor for the, it's a metaphor. Don't worry about it.
It is a metaphor.
Horse means life. Horse means life. Grass means death. I don't know. Just go with it. Pull your tits out. Good.
Because it relates to depression, Sam. Are you ready for my actual explanation of this?
Oh, no shit. This movie's about depression, Blue?
Well, okay, but like even that, like thematically, it makes sense. First of all, there's a lot of things to set the mood, right? We get a motif of her as Ophelia based off of that famous painting. We get so much in this little bit, right? And some of it we don't understand yet. I was confused by the scene of her in the wedding dress and walking across. Obviously, that meaning is revealed later. But it's basically, if you think about it, part 1 is all about depression. We're not going to go into part 2 yet. Okay, we're going to start with part 1.
Part 1 sucks.
I have a gun. Part 1 is really good. And it's like this idea that like depression, he shows depression as a disease. That's the whole first part of the movie, is that it is depression. And it shows very well, I think, The way that your identity and your relationship with the world is strange, is unfocused. Things that shouldn't be difficult become difficult. The way like she can't move her body because it's too heavy. Like she is this perfect metaphor for what I think depression does to you and what it does to time, how it warps your sense of time and everything around you. And in a way, the star, Melancholia planet, I guess, is doing the same thing. Like they're a metaphor for each other. There's this beautiful relationship between this. And that's why the movie starts and she's late to her own wedding. It's all about this skewing. That's caused by her mental illness.
None of this has gone over my head. I just think it was terribly executed.
It's not, though. It's not.
Right. Okay, first of all, I will say Lars von Trier has said this is his least favorite film he ever made. It's also, he was worried it was going to be too pop and too mainstream. And I was like, fucking don't worry about that one, buddy.
It's good, dude.
Okay. We have to just go, okay, beat by beat here a little bit, and we'll jump just whenever you feel the need to jump in and tell me that
every 2 seconds
that something means something, and I get it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we're going to be very clear here. I'm going to be probably referring to Kirsten as Kirsten, but she's known as Justine, who Blue said that they felt like at the beginning of this podcast.
She is my wife.
And I think you're feeling more like Claire right now, which is angry. And
Claire's not angry. You don't get her either.
Yeah, anxiety ridden. I get it. We'll get there. I was just trying to make a little joke for levity.
I'll kill you.
All right. What's her name? Evelyn Gainsborough. I can't remember her first name. Gainsborough. We're gonna Justine and Claire. All right, I'm gonna go chronologically with my notes here. Before I realized, I was like, "You son of a bitch! God damn it!" First thing I wrote here is, okay, so we're on our way to a wedding, and they're playing bumper cars in a limo. Essentially, that's what I wrote. It's like a cutesy scene where they're driving up a long, windy road, but they're in a stretched limo, and the fucking dumbass driver can't drive it. So then it's Kirsten Dunst's to-be husband, played by one of the, not Bill Skarsgård, the other
Alexander, I think.
Alexander.
Yeah.
And he tries to drive it, and he can't. And then she gets out, and she hits a rock, and she's like, tee-hee, tee-hee. Then she shows up to her wedding at this castle. So this movie is later adapted into a stage play, which I think it would be a very good play. I will be honest with you. I think this would be a great play because the whole movie takes place in one location. That is true. I'm not knocking anything.
That's true.
The whole thing does take place in one location. It's all at this castle. I immediately hate Kirsten Dunst because she's like overly like the top. She is so in love at the beginning of this movie. She shows up to her own fucking wedding 2 hours late and is like, and they're like, everyone at her sister's like, what the fuck? You're 2 hours late. She's like, we couldn't get up the road. Tee-hee, tee-hee. And then she's like, oh, before the wedding, I have to go see Charleston or whatever his name. I think it's Albert, actually. It was the name of the horse. So already made her guests wait 2 fucking hours. So she's like, I need to go say goodbye to my horsey before I'm taken away by my hubby. So she goes and says goodbye to her, not even goodbye. She's just like, this is my man now, so I don't need you anymore. And then she goes to her wedding. And this is where my first real note. I said, how dare you, Lars von Trier? You have a real life father and son in this movie. So what do you cast them as? Best friends.
Yeah.
They're
perfect.
He very easily could have just been the father of the groom.
Yeah, but that really wasn't a character.
It would.
The only character was her parents because the movie's about her and Claire, the Swiss sisters.
I understand. Cast somebody else. It's wild to me to cast a father and son and I'm waiting for him to be like, and he gives a speech at this guy's wedding. So I'm like, okay, of course he's going to be like, all right, Alexander, I've known you since you were just a wee one. And he's like, well, it's been uncomfortable because I'm his best friend. And I'm like, you are fucking 60. What are you talking about? Okay. I wrote, how self-centered is this woman? She's so late. She sees a horse. And then very quickly, this is where the movie truly takes place. And this is where you're going to pause, I know, in a second. Mr. best friend, 60-year-old not dad Skarsgård, is the owner of the company that she works for. It's like an advertising agency, and he goes basically as a wedding gift to her, he gives her a promotion, and she shits her fucking pants. This is what kicks her off into depression, because now it is taken the choice away from her, she says, and for the rest of the movie, him giving her a promotion is what is basically at fault for everything besides the planet that's colliding into it. Am I incorrect?
No, she's already depressed. That's why she's late to her wedding, because she is depressed. That's why that sets up that whole long montage in the beginning.
Wait, how
about
is
depression and your skewed sense of time?
Okay, she's not late to the wedding for that. She's late because they got a stretch limo to go up a stupid road.
Yeah, but she doesn't care that she's late. Like, they take their time. They're seen fucking around. They're seen this. All of her wedding day, realistically, is supposed to be about you. And she's not able to do what she actually wants to do on her wedding day, because that would be seen as the selfish choice. But she still does the selfish choice.
I suppose. I will tell you, Blue, I looked up after this a critical analysis of this movie to make sure that I wasn't completely stupid. According to what they are saying from the professional critics, it's the moment that her choice is taken away by this job that it kicks things off. I don't know.
Well, it's up for interpretation, right? My thing with it is, yeah, sure, you could see that as like the final straw, I guess. But I think really the existential despair comes from the recognition of what she is expected to do, what she's expected to feel, the limitations imposed on her by her family. And she recognizes her own lack of will to meet or transcend those limitations. So yeah, I think the job sense, sure. But I don't think I think if you just take it as like the job thing stressed her out and made her depressed, I think that's too simplified of a look of the reason why this is taking place at a wedding already. She wants to be able to exceed this. She says to everyone she wants this wedding, she wants this, blah, blah. She has an inability to meet people's expectations on all aspects. And I think that's where you start to see crumble after crumble after crumble after crumble of this persona. So yeah, I do think that I wouldn't say it's not a part of it. I would just think that it's more of a sense of her will.
Okay, so this is definitely where we fundamentally see things differently here, because for me, from the way I interpreted it, it seemed to me like everything up until that point she is, I mean, happy to a degree that is comical, and which I almost would put the depression level like this. I actually, again, I wrote here multiple reasons why I think this would make a great play. It's so over the top in her presentation of both happiness and depression that I was like, wow, like this would be a great play, because that's where, you know, over the top, like grandiose acting really, you know, succeeds. I mean, which she's good at in this performance, but like it just doesn't succeed for me on a screen. Like I truly looked at it as she was super, super happy and probably has depression or some sort of mental illness, obviously. And then once this fucking thing happened, I mean, she's immediately later in the bed, like at her own wedding, like dying, essentially, like inside, like dying the slow internal death. On a lighter note here, I did write a note of, I thought, what kind of wedding is this? Again, this makes sense as a play, but what fucking wedding are you going to where you're like, we're all going to stay the night here and we're going to stay here for hours and hours. And then we're going to go outside. We're going to have dinner. And then we're going to go outside, and then we're going to sit outside, and we're going to have another ceremony. And then after the ceremony, then we're going to light Chinese lanterns. And then after that, it's like, is this a 2-week long party? What are we doing here?
I think that's on purpose.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, Lars's movies often don't take place in reality. They take place elsewhere that just sort of mimics reality. You know, like you said, time doesn't really exist in this presentation. And I do think that is true. Look, you got me to agree with you on something.
Well, let's see about the rest of the movie.
I don't think it's going to be good.
We made it like 20 minutes in. So,
I did put at this point, I hate this woman. I hate her because again, the reason that I hate her, listen, and I want to be very clear about this because depression and mental illness is and mental health is a thing that I take very seriously on a true personal level. When I take this shit seriously, I myself suffer from it in many ways that everybody does. We all get depression. Depression is a normal part of being a human. Whether some of us feel it and have different imbalances, I understand that. So I am not in any way saying what I'm about to say does not affect those, does not mean anything negative towards people who deal with that. This, in my interpretation of the movie, this woman goes from perfectly happy to one thing going wrong in her day. And while that can be a thing that will trigger you in a realistic depression, again, time is fucking played with, I feel like, in this movie. It's like, instead of that typical depression that just sort of creeps up on you and gets worse and worse, like a heavy blanket and a heavy feeling that just sort of slowly fucking drains your energy out. It's like someone took that dial, twisted it off, and broke it off and threw it away. She's immediately like, she destroys her entire life in the span of the next 20 minutes, where she goes, it cuts to, they're still at the party, might I add, but they like cut to, again, none of this time makes sense, but they're at the party. They've gotten married. Her and her husband are going to consummate the marriage, and she doesn't want to be touched, and she's being weird about it. And she's like, again, I'm guessing because maybe now the choice has been taken out of her hands for that, she feels like. So what does she do? She goes and fucks a stranger in a golf course. What are we doing here?
freedom.
She's not happy about it.
She's not mad about it.
I would say she's closer to mad than she is happy about it.
I think it's, well, okay. I will say, I get that I think this is a very specific type of depression. I will say.
Not only that, she basically rapes the guy too. I might want to point that out. She
forcibly shoves him there.
She forcibly shoves him to the ground and puts herself on top of him. There is no question of consent.
Yeah, she doesn't get to experience free will, so she makes it so he doesn't. There's like a nature there that she exerts it over another person and doesn't get what she wants out of it and realizes that.
Yeah.
But I just think like looking at it that way, like ignores kind of like where we meet the character. I think Justine's pretty good at like the mask. There's a lot of pressure for her to be married. There's a lot of pressure of her with this job. There's a lot going on with the parents and how they're fucking fighting. And I'm sure that was a fucking, chaotic life. But a lot of her life
Mom's a real bitch in this movie.
Yeah. But a lot of her life has been decided on her behalf. And now she's stuck in that situation. And it's literally commit to the bit or not. Basically, it is this overwhelming, it's inescapable nature of choice. And I think that's it can look really quick. So I will say, as someone who also struggles with depression, mental illness, blah blah, this is the most seen I have ever felt about depression in my life.
Oh.
Her depression is my depression 100%. Like I very much relate to exactly how she felt in all of it. And Lars Van Trier, not to say like, not to put me up there with the big guy. But like, he was also like, that was the motif for this character, like his own depression, how that looks and how that feels for him.
Can I ask you a question then?
Sure.
Now I mean this, and when it comes to yours and my mental health, we have really serious conversations off pod about it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel seen in, again, I guess, in the rapidness of it? That's it's, the choices are not what bothers me, and the presentation is not what bothers me, but the rapidness. And I understand you're saying, and this is a side issue, but I guess more or less I'll start with that. Because with how quickly it is shown, because I mean, we're talking, I'm presuming less than a 6-hour period of time.
Yeah, I think I really related to this feeling of her like she's there and she starts off at this level and then that slowly declines and then she excuses herself and you can see her she's doing generally self-soothing behaviors, right? She's going to tuck her nephew into bed or she's going to take a bath. Like she's doing things that would hypothetically like fill your cup, so to speak.
Mhm.
And it doesn't work. And in turn, like she's just expected to be okay by everybody. And even though she's essentially trying to do that, it comes off as selfish and inconsiderate and rude, even though she is trying to essentially come back. That's why she keeps coming back to the party and then she's happy. And you can see like if you compare like how she looks in every scene, she starts off a certain way. At one point, she's like getting her picture taken and like it's just this dead like smile. Like she's clearly forcing that to like be there. And I relate a lot to like trying to keep up that mask and trying and trying and trying and it not working. In that type of sense. So to me, it's not very quick. Like to me, especially because I think we start the movie off, we already get a weird sense of time, right? Regardless of the fact if we like the method or not. There's this long montage. There's this slowness to it. Then we get into we're essentially as our viewer, we're coming into a movie that's like, okay, well, she's late to her wedding. She's like hours and hours late to the rest of her wedding. This is not the first step of their day, right? They've already been married. This is them like coming to the reception, blah, blah, blah. So she's already had a long day. But we as an audience don't get this rush. We don't get this sense of urgency. We don't get this blank. And I think that I extend the same feeling to her as far as like where she has gotten. There's a lot that we don't see about this couple. There's a lot that we don't see about certain elements. We do get to see a lot about the mom and the dad, which is very interesting. And I think relates to actually more of Claire's stories, but we'll get into that later in part 2. But I'm considering that as well. So in terms of the quickness, I feel like it can look really quick for me, like how my symptoms look. I think it can look very quick for people. Like when she's having a conversation in Act 2 with Claire, and it seems good, and they're talking about how like Claire wants to die, and like the music, and let's have a glass of wine, and blah blah blah. And she's like, "Oh, that's what you like," blah blah. And she's like, switches on Claire, and is like, "That's fucking stupid," by the way. Which like I loved that scene. I was like, okay, yeah, obviously you can't say that, but also like, go off, queen. Accurate. But I just thought like that scene makes so much sense to me versus like to Claire that would be very quick. And then she's like, sometimes I just really fucking hate you. And I think in reality, Justine is really good at keeping herself up to a certain level and maintaining that as much as she can. And really, you're only seeing it as quick because she's allowing you to. If she like got help, like there's really not much implication that her husband or fiance or whatever, like really knew the extent of her depression and certain things. Like I think if she had become more communicative, which would not have been advantageous to this plot, but if she had been someone who could ask for more things or know her limits or have these things, that it would feel very different to how we feel. So to me, it wasn't quick.
Okay. And I feel like my issue with the movie is that, and I feel like you, because obviously this is an air. So, by the way, want to remind the audience, this is about, and notice how we haven't brought up the fact that the world's ending.
Yeah.
That subject is not brought up an hour into the movie. That's just a extra thing they add on.
Well, but, I have a reason for that, but let's go on.
I do feel like you are adding a lot to the movie that isn't presented, and maybe intentionally so. But like, oh, we're putting this mask on at the beginning because that's how. And you could say that, but also you can say it would not be out of character to say that that's not presented on screen. I can only judge by what is being presented on screen. And you know what I mean? Like, so you can.
I guess to me, it is presented on screen.
See, I guess that's.
Like, there is some, like, essence of, like, oh, I'm trying to infer certain things. But at the same time, I think every time she leaves the party, every reaction she has to someone saying something, her trying to self-soothe and like get out of things, her trying to sleep, her trying to take a bath, her trying to do classic soothing behaviors, her wanting to talk to her dad, her like begging him to stay. Like, I think she is trying. Like, I think all those things to me are evidence of her declining mental state and the mask, so to speak, like slipping. Because we see how nice and kind she is to her man in the beginning and the limo driver and all that fun stuff. And we see her conversation and what she says to people and how she reacts change. So to me, all of those things are on screen.
Okay, and I can see that. I can see that there. And I guess the way you're describing it with the soothing techniques, I wasn't really not paying attention, but I wasn't getting that. It's just, again, it seems compressed to me. It seems like that's something that you would see play out over weeks, not an hour. But okay, I'll give you that. That's fine. I will give you that. I'm too nice.
Even the self-destructive like behavior and her like going off to try and have sex with someone else, and like that is like this dopamine release that doesn't do anything for her anyway. But she's like also Ophelia, and Ophelia is like a historically sexually repressed character. So there's a lot to say there too, I'm sure.
Well, we're
like everything. Having sex is an activity you could do to make your brain make happy chemicals to do the thing. But she's too far in.
Yeah, it just instead of doing it with her husband, she does it with. Gotta feel bad for that guy.
Yeah.
You literally get married, and then hours later, I fucked this guy, and we're getting a divorce, or I guess annulment at that point. But the guy she picked was not Alexander Skarsgård. She picked some guy who just looks like me. Like
he is her observer. That's a very intimate position for her to have. Whether I don't cheat on your partner. I don't do that, but
yeah, I'm not saying that, but I just yeah. Well, we're coming to the end of part 1. If this sounds pleasant to you and you're interested in watching it, part 2 is going to pick up. But pretty much that's the end of part 1. It's except the only thing is that which we neglected to say, the only thing that directly connects, not through allegory and things like that, is that before she goes into the wedding, she looks up and she sees a planet, or sees a red star that is the primary star of which constellation was it? I don't remember. I think it was
Scorpio.
I think it was the Belt.
Was it?
Whatever. A constellation. And Kiefer Sutherland's like, I'm a star guy, I'll tell you. And when she looks up after the party, that star is gone, hinting at something might be going on in the sky. Part 2. Oh, and the jelly beans. Oh God. This is so hard to keep up with. Okay. Yeah. There's also, could you imagine after we go through all that depression stuff? Oh, and the jelly beans. Oh, there's a jar of jelly beans, and they're having everyone guess how many are in there. She refuses to guess, and Alexander Skarsgård gives like a doofus guess. He's like 2 million jelly beans are in the bottle. That comes into play later. Okay, now we're on to part 2, which is Claire's story. Now, I will say, far more enjoyed Claire's section of the movie than I did enjoy Justine's section of the movie. But I want to hear your thoughts. You give us a little breakdown of what happens here and what your thoughts are.
Because you have similar anxieties to Claire?
Oh, I 1,000% related more to Claire. Are you out of your mind?
That's what I thought.
If the world was ending, do you not think I would be? I would have that stupid little coat hanger thing. I would have checked it 1 billion times. And if and we're sitting in a magic.
I'd be sitting next to you like nothing you can do, bro.
And I'd be sitting in a magic cave with you fuckers. Fuck off, like.
That's the interesting part. I did like part 2 a lot. I think there's a lot to be understated about Claire because I didn't know how to feel about her at first. Essentially, like we're given this you're given this scene in the beginning of the 3 of them. You're giving Justine, and she has either like a blue moon or like melancholia itself and like a half above her. Her nephew is also given a half moon, but it's not blue. It's not blue. That could be a metaphor for time. He's a young man, like, you know, like a young man. He's like 7, 8 years old. Maybe a little bit older than that, actually. I'm really bad at guessing children's ages, but like there's that. I almost wonder what there would be there. But Claire's is given a full moon. She is given a full moon, but it's not the same color. So it's very interesting. There's a lot that I would want to explore with that, hypothetically. But I didn't understand how I was supposed to. I already really identified with Justine personally, at least in the terms of her mental illness and like what it feels like to fail, like people's expectations, even when you go into it wanting to do it. So I understood Claire and her frustrations, because I've also been on the other side, right? I've been in a healthier place, and I also have depression and anxiety, so there is a lot there. But I didn't know how to feel about Claire at first and her anxiety. I think at the end of the day, and this is maybe jumping a little bit ahead, but I think I like, this is how I am interpreting it for the rest of Claire's section. I interpret basically the film is, in a way, it could be both about anxiety as far as Justine's, as far as Claire's, but Justine's anxiety comes from being and having to live up to expectations, having to be a person in society, having to withhold certain things, to maintain certain relationships, to be this person that everyone thinks you are. She has this anxiety over this, or even like this depression over being, which is why she's cool with the world ending. Like, she's like, yeah, guys, obviously. That could also be her, projecting a little bit, because she's alone in the universe. So of course she would think that she's alone. There's no aliens and everything. Of course she would think that, and everything like that.
And that life is evil. Direct quote from the movie.
Well, and maybe it is, but I think Claire is
sorry is not evil. He was a perfect little dog.
Oh my God, he was just a little baby. But Claire's fear is not being, right? Justine's fear is being, and Claire's is not being, because she's very afraid of this actual like anxiety and this threat of like not being alive, and this threat of like her son not being able to grow up. And
we should be clear here real quick. Claire's section starts off, part 2. It starts off with the announcement's been, you never see the announcement in part 1. Announcement's already been made. They know, they don't give you an exact timeline. I think they just, it's happening.
This is taking place a few days after the wedding, but you don't know how much time.
I wasn't sure how. I was like, how much? I really didn't know. I was like, there's the blanket. I was wondering how much time, because I did not catch that there was which again, time doesn't really exist in this movie. So I was like, is it 3 days? Is it 3 months? Is it 3 years? I did not know.
It's my understanding of it, at least, is that it's supposed to be pretty quick after. Okay. That. My understanding of it is, and I don't remember. I watched Taking a Friend for the End of the World last, so I don't remember as much of this movie. Now I do a lot, because it's also one I want to own, and I think it's great. But the way that I interpret it, at least, since I can't pinpoint any particular reason, was a lot of the essentially this is like this fall into depression that we're seeing when she goes and she drives on the golf course and she does whatever, right? Like, this is her slipping into this like darker version of herself, right? She sabotages herself, she quits her job, she does all this. And she's like falling into that. And that's where we find Justine. She really can't be not be bothered, but she's struggling to even get into a taxi that Claire calls for her and stuff. Like, she's very obviously like mentally struggling. My understanding of it was like, we're fully into the descent.
Oh, she's like,
we're down. We're not manic.
She's damn near catatonic at the start of not Justine, Claire's story. I mean, literally, like, Claire is like having to like almost bathe her while she's literally acting like a child, going like nonverbal, and like, I get that. By the way, depression, totally understand that. Not making fun of that. I get that. Everything that happens in part 2 makes so much more chronological sense to me of like the way it would happen. And trust me, it is not lost on me, Blue, that, I mean, again, I don't know how these turn into like psychological breakdowns of each of our own personas every time, whether we're talking about Transformers or fucking this, which makes a lot more sense. It was not lost on me that, now, granted, I looked at it as part 1 was like, this is the depression chunk of the movie. Part 2 was, I looked at it as the anxiety chunk of the movie. Now, granted, these are 2 very mixable and interchangeable things. They are yins and yangs and also the same thing, but different. I get that. You know, I have my little depressy side. I do. Anxiety is by far one of the largest controlling factors. For me, mentally, like, anxiety is a problem, and you know this. I've gone over that with you. It was not lost on me that I much more identified with Claire and the second section of the story. But I also will say, just from a basic film point of view, I also enjoyed the second half more because, all right, now we've introduced this, the catalyst of the story, which is, I mean, I guess the catalyst of the story truly is depression and anxiety, but in this way, there's a fucking big ass planet.
Yeah, we got Melancholia coming.
There's a little bit of sci-fi to it where Kiefer Sutherland, Claire's husband, is like, he's shown this way that they can tell if the planet is going to hit or not, where they have like this, like, it's like a coat hanger. And basically it's very similar to if like, if you ever saw Poltergeist, where like they count from the thunderbolts to the lightning. It's a way for them to basically, if the planet is getting smaller or larger, inside of this little like circle thing that they make, they know if it's getting larger, it's coming towards them. If it's getting smaller, it's going away from them. And there's a little sci-fi fun to it. Not fun. Nothing about this is fun, but
sure.
There is more movie elements here, which I'm gonna take a bet here. This is probably the part that Lars von Trier hates the most. He's like, that was too sensible. Like,
yeah, I don't know if he does or not. It's definitely different for Melancholia. The first part of Melancholia, to me, especially after we get to know the character and she's talking about like depression being like a weight on her, and like her going through like her in her wedding dress with the gray thread pulling her down and all this, like there is this whimsical, there's almost like this there's something in this movie about appearances and reality in a sense, and I think he plays with that much more with Justine and the wedding and the joyful event, and then like the struggle with depression, and maybe even in Melancholia, because at first they're like, oh, we're gonna live.
Yes,
and it's like, oh, the reality is no, you're not actually. Sorry, like not actually true.
There's a big red herring in this movie, which if you checked how long it was, I was like, suspicious. About halfway through part 2, Kiefer Sutherland, the expert, the planetary expert, I don't know what his exact title is. He's not really given one, I don't think. He's just basically science guy. He's like, listen, it missed Mars, it missed Jupiter, like all these planets that the so-called experts, kind of like almost like I would assume like the Joe Rogans and like the morons across the world who were like, it's gonna hit us, and they're all the scientists were like, no, it's not. He says that same thing about Earth, and he keeps telling Claire like, calm down, it's fine, it's not gonna hit us, and then it misses the planet. And then he's like, whew, good thing that happened. And she's like, what the fuck do you mean? And he's like, well, there's always room for error. And she like is not happy.
Why do I feel like that would be us?
Oh,
I would so lie and then just like be like, yeah, no, it's fine. Oh my God, no one's going to die.
And I would be thrilled because I would at least have had another few hours of thinking everything was okay. But, she wakes up the very next morning after this near miss, and she can't find her husband and the suicide pills that they had locked in a cabinet, because if things were going to go wrong, they were going to take these pills. This asshole takes all of them, the husband, she finds, has taken all of the suicide pills, so he really didn't give a fuck, and kills himself in the horse thing. They all like these horses.
Can I say there's
Yes.
something interesting about that? Because our main character in part one, our Justine, is very much seen as like she's not like rational. She's, I mean, dare I say, whimsical. But she's like mentally ill. She like is full of despair. Like there is this idea of like sanity or not. Like she's behaving in a way that would not be particularly sane per se. And then the most sane and rational character that we have, who's like being strong for his wife and child. He's being tough about it. He's also preparing a backup plan. He's like doomsday prepping just in case. Like he's doing everything you should as a rational person in this. You're like protecting the ones around you, turning it into this fun thing, or like somewhat fun and like just doing your thing and blah, blah, but also preparing for the worst. Like he is the most rational, though he is the one that ends his life. He is the one that succumbs to his own rationality and insanity and like his own, like this, he's shown as so strong, and then in the end is like the weakest character. And I thought that was interesting.
I didn't think of it that way, but 100% you're right. I mean, of the characters that are on screen the most, it's Claire, Justine, and sort of him in the middle. And he is sort of throughout the entire movie, he's the sane one. There is one character I want to ask you about. I really wanted to know what his significance was because I could not pinpoint it, even when I'm trying to like. This is a little bit of an artsy movie, not exactly my thing, but I try to look for things. Even just fuck it. What significance does the only character in this movie that does not have a name, just the housekeeper, played by Udo Kier, who I fucking love, but he's like kind of annoyed with them at the whole movie. You remember like when Kiefer Sutherland throws all the what's her name shit in the thing, and then he like sneaks out there and grabs it, and then he like disappears and doesn't show up again. What was the purpose? Is that like something that I couldn't figure out? Because my whole time I'm like, that's Udo Kier. That's a very famous actor. You can't tell me you cast him just to play the butler. Like,
I kind of thought of it in the way like, I mean, there's also big themes in this movie about isolation and alienation and control, right? Like we get Justine with like, and Claire with their weird, distant mom and the forgetful father. And even there's probably something to be said about the fact that this is a rich ass house. And like, of course they have a fucking butler, and there's like a social commentary there about like wealth and like, it's not going to fucking save you. And like consumerism, because Claire is so like shook that he's not coming and like stuff like that. I think it just serves to make the movie even more intimate and isolated in and of itself.
That's fair. There's, especially with Lars von Trier, there's always something, whether or not I think he knows what it is sometimes, there's always something. And I'm like, he did not cast this very famous actor who's been well known for like, at this point, like 50 years and is like, and you're the butler. And I was like, there's no fucking way. There's no way. That has to mean something. Like you have to mean something. But yes, you are right. Kiefer is sort of the most sensible character of the entire movie. I mean, both because the parents are fighting. The dad's sort of a drunk womanizer. The mom is insanely vindictive to a point that it's like a complex. He's really the only one the whole movie who's like sensible and you know, has his head on his shoulders. And you're right. And then he's the first one to take the coward's way out, and not only take the coward's way out, take it in a way that prevents his family from doing the same. That's the part that I thought was crazy. Like, because I don't think they said what the pills were. I just assumed cyanide or just something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think he needed the whole fucking bottle, but he took the whole bottle.
No, I probably not. But in a way, he's someone his character was interesting in the sense, even though he wasn't obviously anywhere near like as big of an influence as like Claire or Justine, but he was control. He had an issue of how much money the wedding was costing, and this like Claire always was very lenient with Justine. And I think that's because Claire has a lot of anxiety in and of herself, and she's the only one that's going to fucking do it. So fair enough. But her husband is about control. He controls perception. He controls, obviously, he's a wealthy man. That requires, in essence, a lot of control. He has people who work.
Generic science pays, baby.
And good for him.
And buys a lot of horses.
But he controls that. He controls, like, he has, like employees under him that are living in his house. He has this control over everything. So I guess in a way he is trying to, his last thing of control is taking himself out.
See, I was about to ask you while you were saying that, I was like, do you think he represents general control? Because he is the one who always has an answer. No, it should be this, or this is what's going to happen. I don't have this. And the moment that he no longer has control, when he knows we are fucked, he can't handle it and takes himself out, thus once again, sort of gaining control again. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would ultimately kind of pin his character on, though I think him as a foil to the whole rational thing is very, very interesting. While our character, who is depressed and like most likely, like suicidal and like very, sad, she goes into it as like this inevitable end, and she's very at peace. So there is something fun there, but I think there's something more so about like, control and fear, and that he controlled not out of like real space, but out of fear, I would think, in most areas of life.
That's fair. I related more to Claire, who's just afraid of everything.
There was she was a little sad, a little scared.
I mean, that's so. You know that I have like a deeply traumatizing fear of death. Like I've told you this. So, audience, there you go. Like I literally, when I think about it, if I think about it right now, you'll visibly see me. Like I will fucking start having some physical manifestations of my fear, and my chest will feel insane and I will hate it. Don't like it.
Meanwhile, me, lay it on me.
Yeah. It's fucking real Justine over here.
It's inevitable.
I understand that, Justine. I don't want to think about it.
She's so vulnerable. I love when she exposed herself to melancholia in that scene where she was naked. Not just because she's hot as fuck and
I mean, the next line I have, I put, he always has to have an unnecessary nude scene, but I said, thumbs up.
I don't know if I would say unnecessary. I think it's for the plot. I think it's about vulnerability. Me justifying getting any girls' titties in a movie. It's actually,
I watched Melancholia for the plot. Blue over here.
Listen, yeah, hell yeah. But I did like that. I do think there was something about that. It's primal. It's like, oh, it's good. It's primal. It's emotional. It's beauty in the face of destruction. It's fucking cool. Like I really liked it. Like genuinely. First of all, thumbs up. Second of all, like what you did there artistically.
See, for imagery, if it was a photograph that I saw on a wall in a museum, I would think this is beautiful and I understand what we're going for. But where it falls in the point of the character and the point of the movie just did not connect for me. I was like, it just felt like, I mean, let's be clear here. Lars von Trier does not have a great track record at all. He has been accused of many bad things. He literally had, I forget who it was. It was some very famous actor quit on set because he did not tell him that he was going to slaughter a donkey in front of him, and he slaughtered a donkey right in front of him for a fucking dumb movie. Lars von Trier has a lot of allegations against him of bad behavior. So it also comes off a little creepy to me when every movie I'm like, well, I'm probably going to see this person's dick or tits. And there it is. And again, visually very beautiful. I felt it out of place in the movie. Like if that had been somewhere else, maybe, and with some other buildup, but just sort of randomly plopped in where it is, I did not connect with it.
I think it was perfectly placed.
Fair. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I am right or wrong. I'm just saying for me.
Yeah, I get it. I think there is something there, and I think there's something important about Claire being the one to witness it. She's who sees Justine in her most primal. And I think there's something interesting at play because they have an inverse relationship where at the end, Justine is also seeing Claire that way. And I think that's why she goes about it in the sense like she is cruel at first about her ideas about death, but like she approaches it as this like ends up doing this like childlike sense of like they're having fun and they're in denial and this blah blah. And I think that's like almost and maybe like an antithesis of that scene. Like there is Justine's ritual of death and her beauty and destruction and her inevitability and her exposure and all these beautiful things. And then for Claire, she can only deal with it in the form of denial, with this almost like childlike sense of like, I can do this. I can go here. Someone can help me. Someone can do this. It's not going to happen, babe. And then, you know, they go off and they build their little caves and they do their little cute stuff. And she engages her in that, like, where Justine is this primal version of herself. Claire reverts into like almost like a childhood form.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't. It's hard for me because I would be I'm such a Claire. I'm such a Miranda.
Such a Claire.
I am, because I would be like, I would for sure be like, listen, this is the best place to be. We got to be here because maybe we might be able to survive. Blah, 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 blah. Like, even though knowing that, like, in the back of my head, like, we're fucked. Like, I would probably be that way 100%. So I'm not entirely certain how I feel about that. And maybe that's the point. I will say, sure, maybe intentionally, and I would say probably based on our discussion, I would say very intentionally, you're probably going to drift to one side or the other in this agreement or this approach to the problem, either more of a Claire or a Justine. The little boy, did not catch his name, but Claire's son, Justine's nephew, he's also the only three characters left in the end of this movie is the little boy, which let's set the ending up here. Mm-hmm. Claire tries to escape with the little boy. Nothing works. Cars don't work. Nothing fucking works. She can't go anywhere. So she runs back to the house. Justine is comforting the little boy. Not even comforting. She's just talking to him more or less. And she decides that, like, I forget how it comes apart, but the little boy, she tells the little boy that we can build a magic cave and we'll live in the magic cave. So they go out in the woods, they make spears, and then they make a teepee with no sheathing. They all sit under it. Claire comes out there. They sit under it. And I mean, truthfully, the end of the movies right here is basically the little boy is as silent as can be, but he has his eyes closed. Justine has her eyes open, but is as silent and as calm as can be. And Claire is me. I would be screaming and freaking not screaming, but like crying and hyperventilating and showing extreme fear before, again, a big boom. What do you think the little boy represents in that scene? And then I guess just thoughts on the scene. Because I mean, it's the end of the movie.
I mean, the ending is perfect. I'm glad they die. They hadn't had to. Same thing with Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. Everyone has to go.
Yeah, I knew Lars wasn't going to pass that opportunity.
Yeah, ain't no fucking way. This is, you gotta think too, this is part of his Depression trilogy. Yeah, so this is Antichrist and the one Nymphomania. Yeah,
I don't think is that the one with, is it Nymphomania or Nymphomaniac? Isn't that
Nymphomaniac? You're right.
The one with Sam Witwicky.
Yes.
Oh, then I have seen all three. Then never mind.
Now I haven't seen all three. But I've seen the other ones at least.
Want to see Willem Dafoe's penis?
Sure.
Spoiler
I'm not
alert.
Against it.
I found this out. It's not his penis.
Sure. He's known to use builds or artificial.
So just as a fun, since we're talking about all this, let's have a fun little discussion about a penis real quick. The famous story is that Lars von Trier went to film the scene, and the story goes, by Lars's own admission, he said Willem's penis was so large that it was disturbing, and he thought that it would have made viewers too uncomfortable, so he made him wear a smaller prosthetic.
That is hilarious.
Yes.
And I love that.
Good for you, Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, where's the uncut version of that movie?
Yeah.
They did like a behind the scenes. I'm just trying to see something.
Yeah.
That's
I
funny.
would honestly, I would want to see it as well.
Goofy ass. But yeah, so the ending is perfect for a depression trilogy. They have to die. That's how it is. I think the kid is almost like this very interesting um, person that we see for different things, right? He is for Justine something that calms her down, that she finds to be soothing. She enjoys the relationship she has with this child, her nephew. She likes tucking him into bed and like planning all these like magical caves they're gonna make and all this stuff. Like she engages in a very childlike and happy way, something she can't necessarily give to herself. She engages with this child with. And in the same way, Claire cannot self-soothe at all. Anxious, terrified, but the minute her kid's like oh, like it's hard to breathe, and she's like, oh, it's okay, sweetie, it's just the planet's taking a little bit of our air, and then when it's gone it'll be good. Like she's very they can both give that child things that the other one can't, they can't give to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a
Okay.
very interesting thing. And also he doesn't judge. He doesn't think that he's a child. He doesn't think that it's weird that Justine lives her own wedding to take a nap. And he wouldn't think that it's like weird necessarily to see his like mom freaking out about this. Like and should we know she's like an anxious character, which is why her husband like acts like that in the first place and stuff. So he's very much just a witness to them,
Mm-hmm.
and is very, judgment free. But in a way, yeah, it's very interesting that they can both give him something they can't give to themselves.
Okay. I really did not think of it that way, or not think of it, did not see it that way. I like that. I like that interpretation. You're a smart cookie.
I watch a few Lars von Trier movies myself.
I think I've watched more, and I've only enjoyed one, and that
Nymphomaniac was good. Part 1, at least.
I've only enjoyed one, and I also and there's also a part of that movie that I enjoy that I fucking despise, and that would be the house that Jack built. But
well, what about this? You didn't enjoy this? I mean, we've got to our ending. Unless you have anything else to add, I want to know what you actually give it on a scale.
So again, part 2 I connected to on a much way more than part 1, for me, obviously by design. But I truly did not like that. I didn't like part 1 because it's its own thing. It has nothing. There's no sci-fi in it, despite the fact that this having a sci-fi based premise. It felt way too much like a play to me. It's not that I don't like movies about depression. Listen here, I like to be depressed. I don't like to be depressed, but I like to. I like movies and worlds and music and stories that live in the world of depression. I truthfully do. I mean, I like them to be, I don't know, a little less heavy-handed with it, and also not just present this one thing, present them in a world of whatever the overarching story is, weave that in. This is the part 1 is pretty much just seeing a depressed woman. That's pretty much it. And the choice and obviously the self-destructive choices that she makes because of depression. So I really, really, really didn't like part 1. And this movie is a 2-hour and 10-minute movie. And the first hour and 5 minutes is that.
Mm-hmm.
Part 2, I much more enjoyed. I related to it more. I'm glad everybody died. There is no sorry in this movie. I didn't want anyone to live. But part 2 is far more enjoyable. I don't know. I mean, if I gave Nosferatu a 2, this is my second least favorite movie we've ever done.
I'll kill you.
No, well, I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
I liked all the other movies we've done.
I guess.
I've only given one other movie a negative review on our show, like a totally negative review. And that was Nosferatu, which I would watch this again before I watch Nosferatu. 2.5.
2.5 is crazy.
Yeah, I was not a fan of this. I don't think I'm a very big fan of Mr. Von Trier. Even the movie he made about a serial killer in the 80s should have been right down the middle for me.
Yeah, some of your favorite things.
And then The
Decade You Were Born, and
Oh my God. I have
Maybe like
deeply,
there's
I
some
have,
nostalgia there.
oh, audience, you don't even know. You don't even know. Blue is going to terrorize me for the next 3 days based on what I've just said. Oh,
Oh, 100%.
oh, it's gonna be bad. I'm gonna have to give updates. Yeah, okay, it's starting. The meanness. Anyway, he
Maybe
found
you
a
just don't
way.
get it because, like, I don't know, it's just like not from your time. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I kind of feel like this was my time, 2011.
No.
I was
What were
like,
you, like an adult clubbing?
I was like prime Sam. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm the biggest fan of Mr. Von Trier, despite the fact that his movies always interest me enough that I see them, and then I'm always like, why the fuck did I watch that?
I hate that for you, but it is your space to have those feelings and those thoughts. So I'll allow it, I guess. I will say for me,
Do we have to agree on everything?
yeah, we're like besties. We hang out all the time. Like, agree with me, it's the best movie ever made.
Oh,
No.
if not, we're gonna hang out less.
This whole podcast was really made on us disagreeing about certain movies. So in reality, this is really just up to par. But I will say, for me personally, and I haven't seen a ton of Lars von Trier. I've seen this, obviously. I've watched Nymphomaniac Part 1, Part 2. I've seen the director's cuts. I've got really into that. I'm sure there's other things I might have seen from him that just aren't coming to mind. I have not seen The House Jack Built, but I want to.
I can let you borrow it. I have 3 copies.
I'll take 2. And so there are things that I really enjoy. Something about how Lars von Trier represents mental illness, whether that's depression or even like even the character in Nymphomaniac. I very much relate to the version of and I'm non-binary, but just for sake of his movies, this mentally ill woman persona that he has. And how he chooses to present it and what they would like struggle with or how things feel, or and like showing their nasty side, showing them as like he takes a very human approach for me that I really appreciate. He has a very human approach to, even though he gives it the sense of whimsy and this sense of non-reality and these things in a way. Through capturing it that way, he captures its actual true essence, at least in those senses for me. So I think for mental illness personas, he is perfect. Like, I really do feel like for me, Melancholia and Justine's depression, and I know how it comes off. I know it comes off selfish. I know it comes off rude, terrible. Like, she's literally like being the fucking worst. I relate to her a lot. And same with the character in Nymphomaniac. So there's something, Lars von Trier and I have a little mind meld going on here. We very much feel the same about certain things. And we have probably had similar experiences because he did model Melancholia's depression. Justine's depression specifically off of his own. And for me, that came off as very genuine and very like, oh, you get it. Oh, fuck. Damn it. So for me, though, as a movie in general, I thought it was very pretty. There were parts of it that I actually did prefer part 1, of course. I do relate to Justine, so that's probably not a big surprise. I have some issues with part 2 as far as like pacing and certain things. But I thought it was a really beautiful movie. I think the performances were good. I think it's a movie that I'll rewatch, that I'll own, that I'll be proud to talk about. And for me, this is like a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is not, and I would not like, this is not one that, first of all, I'm never the type of person to be like, you're wrong, this movie sucks, that, I mean, unless someone
Sam
like,
yells at me.
Never. No, it's actually it is quite the opposite.
No, Sam yells at me and tells me I'm wrong.
Really?
And then I'm like, you don't get it, you're old.
Yeah, and my weekly Star Wars update, that's definitely how that conversation goes.
Always has been.
You are a real Justine.
Yep.
You are a real Justine.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay. You're a real Justine's mom right now, all right?
Okay, buddy.
But yeah, no, I mean, I can see again why you like this, and especially why you in particular like this. I know you pretty well, so I can see why you're relating to it. And again, I see why Lars von Trier is his movies are never gonna make they're never gonna make $50 million. They always just make a decent amount. Like this made about 20 million off of a $10 million budget, so it did good.
That's profit.
It's profit. But that's the type of movies he makes. He's not making them obviously for the masses, and that's fine. I don't necessarily want that, but it just, I think his style, it just isn't for me. But I can respect his style and respect why people like it. And again, for you and knowing what you're into and the things you like learning about and thinking about, especially about your own brain and your own feelings and emotions, you are very introspective. I can feel that his movies would probably scratch an itch for you that a lot of others wouldn't. So I understand why this would really hit for you on many levels. For me, I could have had a few more explosions, but overall,
yeah.
it just wasn't great for me. Again, not the worst. It is not at the bottom of my list for Screen Talk movies, but it is not at the top either.
and that's fair. That's very fair. I think Lars von Trier knows his primary, I don't want to say this in this way, primary demographic in a way. I think he caters to a very specific type of mentally ill person, and I applaud him for not going the very the way that he shows people. He's not afraid to show them. He makes very morally complex characters, which is not good for a lot of people. Not that you can't handle morally complex, you definitely can. But I do think he, in encapsulating his own truth, he isolates a lot of his audience, or potential audience, because he doesn't want to turn down anything. It has to be just the truest version of what he can present. And I think, while he doesn't do it in an intellectual, like, elitist type of way, that what's his name, Robert Eggers. There it is. He does. He's very akin to him in a sense of like, if you get it, you get it. And he makes no like cadence for everything. It's like, yes, there's an 8-minute fucking montage. Okay, it's this. Okay, there's this painting. This is Ophelia. You should know that. Like he's insane. I do see that.
I think this episode might be the truest. What we thought episode 1 was going to be, Terrifier versus Nosferatu. I'm telling you, I think that this is the true essence of this podcast. Think of how much yin and yang we have. Mm-hmm. In this movie, you prefer part 1, I prefer part 2. You identify with Justine more, I identify with Claire more. You absolutely love this movie and it spoke to you in a deep way. The other movie that we picked, I loved. I gave it I think possibly the highest score I've given any movie we've done on this podcast, and I cried at it multiple times. Like
it's a great movie. I did pick this as I thought you would love that.
There is a lot of yin and yang going on in this episode in very many levels, and I find that very fascinating.
Mm-hmm. That's what makes this podcast great. There is so much about our likes that overlap, and there's so much in the middle that's not. And it causes us to have those discussions and see movies in a lot of different ways for both of us.
Yeah, okay. Again, I think this is giving me, and this will also, if you want to give another yin and yang for what movies we've done so far, I think this is giving me my second least favorite one. It's also giving me my second favorite one. I still think that In the Mood for Love is the best movie we've done. I think that is.
I agree.
I think that's the best movie we've done. And yeah,
so far
across the board. Yeah, so far. Who knows?
I agree.
But I find that very interesting and fascinating. But yeah,
I love it. Look at us.
Look at us growing as people, learning. I'm going to give you a movie that I am very curious what you're going to think about, but I guess I could just give you a copy of it because I have multiple copies of it. So
I'll take it.
Yeah, Amazon messed up and sent me 3 copies. So
yeah, I'm gonna need those.
Well, I don't know if you need all of them. I need
them all.
Oh, okay. Blue, did you have anything you wanted to add here? Obviously, that's kind of where we fall on these movies, or anything, I guess. And truthfully, I feel like who we follow as people and what we gravitate more towards.
Yeah, I think we encapsulated it really, really well. I don't have anything else to add other than I'm literally on Amazon right now trying to order a Blu-ray copy of Melancholia because I want to own it so bad. I don't think there's a 4K, dude. What?
I'm actually surprised. Well, I guess I'm not surprised it's not in 4K because it would look good on it. It would look beautiful on it, but probably not that many people are. Plus, it's on like every single streaming network. Like, it's one of those movies that must be cheap for the rights because it's on like Netflix, Tubi, Amazon. Like, I mean, if Tubi has it, that's not looking good for a 4K release.
Yeah, it's fine. It's only an $8 Blu-ray, so I guess we'll just do it.
Fair enough. Well, on that note, I think that's going to bring us to the close for this week's episode. We will see you in 2 weeks. And thanks, guys, for listening to one of the most depressing episodes, if not the most depressing episode we've ever done. Can we make you cry next week? Come back and find out. Bye.
Goofy.